Hello everyone, I hope you're taking it easy and your day has been great thus far. For this video we'll be going through an unboxing of the 1-60 Moderoid AV-0 Peacemaker, and this is from Mobile Police Patlabor, released by Good Smile Company back in 2021. So flipping back to the Patlabor unboxings with this and another kit, which will also wrap up the Patlabor unboxings. I didn't have too many kits on me, I think it was just the 4, which worked out well. But yes, I thought once I went through the iconic kits, I'd go through some of the next one. I'll say is probably fairly iconic, but I obviously won't say what it is, but it's probably now pretty much given it away, but we'll see. Video's not up yet. But anyway, for today we have the AV-0 Peacemaker, which from what I loosely understand is a bit of a successor to the 98 Ingram. It does feel like it has some parallels to the Type 0 that was seen in the movie, but I suspect this particular AV-0 Peacemaker is more within the... I don't know if I should say manga or the short TV series. Either. But anyway, tragic backstory aside. So here we have the front of the box for the AV-0 Peacemaker. I did get this from Hobby Link Japan, so I'll have a link to this and some of the other Patlabor kits in the description below. I can also confirm, because I looked at it before I started this video, the kit for this one is in a position to be ordered. Stock will basically, well, it says stock is available in 3 to 5 days, but it's better than back order, so definitely keep that in mind. Anyway, box. Front of the box with the Peacemaker front and center. In fact, there's a Unit 1 and a Unit 2, which was always the case. We always had the 2 Ingrams. A very nice looking label. Obviously I like the colors because it's very police centric for Japan in terms of coloring, but it does still hold a lot of the base characteristics of the original Ingram. Has a bit of a hint of the Type 0 from the movie, but it's obviously taken everything on to make itself a unique label. Bottom of the box, just a rehash of what we saw on the front. Top of the box, still a rehash, just from a different angle. Side and the other side. So usually with these boxes, they're not too carried away on the front and the sides. The back, however, is something different. So we have a nice image of the front of the Peacemaker. We also have a shot from the rear as well. Now, there's this particular shot here which it feels like it's suggesting that the revolver will be holstered just underneath the shoulder and off to the side of the chest, which is actually quite cool. It's basically the Labor's version of a shoulder holster, literally. We also have some other shots down here with the Labor basically deploying its armored baton, which is very cool. And then lastly, we have what I can basically imagine is just some different decals to denote whether it's the Peacemaker 1 or Peacemaker 2 unit, would be my guess. So that is the back of the box. Now that we've had a look at outside the box, I will open up the box, which, by the way, these are quite nice because the outside is basically just a outer sleeve, and there's a small inside box that has all the bags and runners inside. So I'll pop that all open. I'll take a quick count of how many bags of runners there are, just in case anyone's curious, and then we can have a better look through the included contents. And with everything now out of the bags and the box, so there are actually 12 bags of runners, which is actually a good amount of runners, but as we'll see in a few minutes, they're not very large runners, so they're very consistent with what we've seen in the Type 0 and the Ingram sets. So here I have the front of the manual of the Peacemaker, so a bit of a rehash of the front of the box. In fact, it's not a bit of a rehash, it's a full-on rehash. Now, how does this manual work? Inside, so we have a bit of a splash page, I guess, of the Peacemaker, front and rear, and a bit of a pose, and then we have a nice little decal guide as well. Parts list, all in Japanese. However, I think now that I have had a little bit of experience, I think these yellow highlights are suggesting parts that have actually been pre-painted. So I think it's just a bit of a please use caution, because you obviously don't want to scratch the paint off. But I have noticed, like in our usual Gundam builds, pieces that are not used will have X's through them. So no doubt there's probably been some form of parts recycling throughout all these various Ingrams. In terms of the build, so just the usual caution, how to build, pretty stock standard. In terms of the assembly, starting with the head, there is that dreadful glue pot icon yet again. It will remain to be seen whether it is needed or not. And in fact, looking at the head, looks like you will have to decide on what color pieces you will use. So I've noticed O and N, which are basically one is fully clear, one is not, basically do your visors, but we'll see that in a minute anyway. So build through the head, then start on the main body, which is cool, fairly straightforward, nothing too complicated. Through the waist as well. I think that's still the waist, or is that? No, the waist is here. That's the start of the shoulder. Has some different options for your light bar. Going through the arm build. Starting the other arm. It's unfortunate that they haven't decided to use some form of English translation, but that's okay. Pictures are still quite handy, and everything's also in color, which is nice. So going through the arms, once again, the dreaded glue icon is back. But oddly enough, the word undergate is actually in English. So there you go. So there'll be some undergating in this kit, which is actually pretty cool. Undergating is always a good thing. But it obviously does add a bit more to the cleanup. Where are we at? So going through the legs and the feet. And then the hands, weapons, shield, holstering the revolver, and some of your different hand manipulator options between closed fist, open palm, baton, revolver, things like that. There will be a action base connector for the Peacemaker, and just some other things like an extension of the arm, and I think this is for the little gimmick if you're opening the forearm for the baton. So that was the manual. Quick look at the transfers. Stock standard. In terms of the runners, we do have a few letters to get through. A runner all in white. So I know we'll have the hands here, probably a bit of the head, and bits of the main torso. little bit of a little bit of detailing, but it's not too heavy, which is good. So just enough to help make things pop, but nothing too heavy. So that was the A runner. In fact, we've got a few white runners, so we have 2 B runners, which are carbon copy in white, but there is a section that has been pre-painted into, say it's some type of shadow grey, to be honest. So we have 2 of those. To wrap up the white runners, I can just get it without making a mess. We have this C runner. Torso, I'm guessing those are the legs, and clearly that is the shield. A little bit of detailing in the shield, nothing too heavy. We do have a bit more detailing on the inside, but it's fairly, I don't want to say sparse, but it's got enough to make it not look fully plain, but it's definitely not too heavy, which I guess is actually a good thing, using the insides of a shield from a Gundam as a comparison point. So that was the C. Moving into some black runners, we have 2 Ds, carbon copy. I'm assuming feet, shoulders, forearm. So we have 2 of those. And we have a E runner, still in black. Revolver, a bit more of the legs, probably bits of the main torso. And there's that one piece that was also been pre-colored gold for the police symbol. That's the E runner. It's actually quite similar to what we've seen with the Ingram and the Type 0. Moving into the, I dare say, shadow grey type runners, we have 2 F runners, carbon copy. So these will most likely be the copious amounts of joints and things like that. We have the G runner, still in that shadow grey. H, moving into some of these joints, given some of the texturing within the joint to have that weird, I'm sure it has a proper name, it's not coming to me though, but textured effect on joints. Moving to the I runner. Might actually help if I have it the right way around. I think that'll be the head and maybe even part of the neck, possibly. We have 2 J runners, carbon copy, still running with the theme of the joints. So as you're probably noticing a trend by now, lots of small runners. 2 Ks, carbon copy, more joints. And the last of the shadow grey runners is the L runner. And this particular piece, it does have a good amount of detailing on it, which is very nice. Will I panel liner? Probably. Should I make life easier on myself and do it as a bit of a black wash? Probably. And that was the L runner. Moving to the M runner, which has actually gone back to white. Definitely a lot of hand manipulators down here. And I suspect a bit more of the legs, top of the feet maybe, bit of the chest. So that's the M runner that went back to white. And then we have the N and the O runners, which are funnily enough the exact same runner, except N has had some of these pieces pre-colored. So 1 and 2 will be your camera visor, eye visor that we saw at the beginning of the build. 3 and 4 will be for your light bars, whilst the same pieces on the O runner are devoid of color. So in terms of the build, I'll probably go these ones. So that's N and O. And that pretty much brings us to the end of the runners. So that was a good amount of runners to go through. Definitely something that I suspect will be a general trend with these Patlabor kits as time goes on. Unless you're a dual kit like the Ingram and the Bulldog was, and the Bulldog wasn't that bad with the runs. So that brings us to an end of the unboxing of the AV-0 Peacemaker. Lots of common trends from what we've seen from the previous Ingram and Type 0. But it does look like it will be a lot of fun to build, and there's just enough detailing on the parts just to make things pop enough without being too overboard, which I think is a welcome relief. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I will have a product link to the Peacemaker and some of the other Patlabor kits over at HobbyLink Japan in the description. Thank you very much for watching this video. Feel free to leave a like, a comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the content. All of this does help support the channel, and I do greatly appreciate it. Extra shout out to my wonderful subscriber base. Thank you very much for sticking around, and no doubt I'm sure some of the content here is tickling your fancy. Extra content can also be found on my Instagram account, link below. Stay safe and take care, and I will catch you all in the next video. See ya.